Oh my gosh. Something's being live streamed. Did you guys get a message? It's being live streamed? Okay, great. Okay, and then the dog's barking. This is great. Okay, we are live. It's being live streamed. Did you guys get a message? It's being live streamed?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. Get out. Welcome to the Junction. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, and I'm going to record on my computer. All right, here we go. Welcome to the Junction. Thanks everybody for being here. We are live on YouTube as well, so welcome. Today we're going to be talking about acceptance. And before we start, I think everyone knows the whole, raise your hand, go to speaker view. It helps, and then mute yourself. So those are straightforward. And our mission at the Junction is to leave you inspired and empowered to make a difference in your life and those around you. And our intention is to experience a space for people to connect within themselves and with others. And to walk away transformed, empowered, and inspired. And our intention this week is to see a path towards acceptance, to find power around what you're tolerating and not tolerating, and experience freedom to be. So that's what we're up to today. And as always, we like to start with some yoga nidra. And so I'm going to hand that over to Amy. Thank you, Amy. I'll put myself on mute. You're on mute. There we go.
There we go. Okay. Get into a nice relaxed space. Settle down, settle back into where you're at. Lay down or lay back. Close the eyes and allow your attention to move inward. Feel your whole being beginning to soften and relax. Breathe in fully and exhale with a deep sigh. Again, inhale. Exhale and let go even more. Feel a sense of comfort, safety, and peace begin to wash over you. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from time-bound consciousness to the timeless state of being. Now follow my guidance as we take 3 deep breaths. Ready? Let's inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat. When prompted by the inner urging of the body, release the breath slow and steady. Deep-seated tensions leaving your body with the breath. Second breath now, inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat. Allow tension to build, holding a bit longer without struggle. Relax the face, shoulders, and arms as you hold. When prompted, release fully, expelling from the body whatever it no longer needs. Enter a deeper state of relaxed awareness. And third breath, inhale together. Hold the breath in, closing off the throat, holding even longer now without strain. Remain the neutral observer. When prompted, release the breath slow and steady, letting it all go until there is nothing left, until you are completely empty, open. Breathe normally. Allow the breath to rise and fall in its own rhythm. The breath becoming progressively quieter until it is almost impossible to detect. In this deep state of awareness, allow the following words to be received. Take in each pair of words from a place of detached ease. Pain, pleasure, anger, peace, sadness, joy, crying, laughter. Maintain your softly detached awareness as though dispassionately observing a movie. Fear, safety, agitation, calmness, sad, happy, hate, love, violent, tender, helpless, powerful, suspicious, trusting, disgusted, delighted. Now allow your attention to simply rest in meditation. Slowly feel yourself beginning to rise to the surface of awareness. Begin to come back to awareness of your physical body. You may gently open your eyes.
Thank you, Amy. Awesome. Nobody's sleeping, I hope. That's awesome. Very relaxing. I also wanted to offer too that Amy does yoga nidra online and on Zoom as well. So if that is something that is of interest to you, definitely want to recommend Amy. So thank you, Amy. So we're talking about acceptance today, and it's been a interesting ride this last week, just diving into it. And I was hoping to give everybody some really great tips to make it quick and easy, but might as well start at the gate and say acceptance is a process, and it's often not an overnight thing, and it's not something that's not possible either. So one of the things that I noticed in talking with people this week was there's things that we can accept quite easily, right? Like we just go along and it's like, oh yeah, I got to feed my dogs in the morning. And it's like, there's just certain things that we just do. And we are accepting of a lot of things, and we probably don't even acknowledge it or realize it. So that's one piece. And the other one is when it comes to things of the heart or things that are of real importance to us. And if there's any sort of loss involved, then it becomes the work. I just want to put up one slide here first. If it'll let me. So the definition of acceptance. So acceptance in human psychology is a person's assent to the reality of a situation, recognizing a process or condition, often negative or uncomfortable, that is a fait accompli, and in brackets, an accomplished fact, without attempting to change it or protest it. And then fait accompli means a thing that's already happened or been decided before those affected hear about it, leaving them with no option but to accept it. So definitely what I'm hearing in acceptance is that there's something that's so, it's fixed, it's the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it. Like there's a relationship to the thing is what it is, and that's it. So there's where acceptance can kind of hit the wall, is when we're dealing with something that is what's so, and there's nothing we can do about it. And there's where the gap between where we may be and where we can get once we, oh, lovely, it's barking. Okay. So the easy things that we can accept, sometimes it's just a matter of being related to it and going, whoa, that is not what I thought it was going to be. Okay, here it is. Maybe you go to a restaurant and you open the menu and you see the prices are way more than you thought, but here you are. It's the only restaurant in town. You're kind of stuck. There's nothing you can do about it, but you're hungry. So on the fly, we can immediately accept it and go, well, okay, this is it. So if you choose to be upset about the prices the whole meal, then there could be some not fun times having. But if we can get to that, okay, this is what it is. I got the money in my bank. Maybe it's not my ideal situation, but here we are. If you can jump to that acceptance faster, get there, there's the availability of really enjoying your meal fully and actually tasting it, savoring it. Like there's so much available by getting to the acceptance. It's when we have a relationship to what we see there and we don't want it to be like that. It's very similar to expectations and upset, right? That we have a way we want it to be and it's not that way. And therefore there's the break. So we're going to look at ways we can accept, but at the same time, realizing that it is a step-by-step process. There is a way. It may not be overnight. And when something is not the way we want, and we wish it that way, we hope it that way, but it is not that way, that's where there's that piece around loss and grief. Like, I wish, like, there's some things we may not want to accept right away, if someone passing away, or often in people who've maybe had to, let's just say, get an amputated leg, right? Like, this is a process for them to see the whole world that they had in front of them is no longer going to look the same way. And where do they get to acceptance is that process of grief for the life they wanted to live, for what they will no longer be able to experience. And just like grief, which I know there's, like, my mom is a grief educator, it is a journey. And that's a whole other a topic in general, but that's what's so powerful, and why this week has been so interesting for me is when I've been diving into acceptance, it's like, there's no easy fix here. We're talking about grief. We're talking about being related to something. And it can be as heavy as that, right? Another thing also, I'm just going to take the slide off, is looking at areas of acceptance. So in my weight loss journey, there's something interesting around stepping on the scale and then seeing a number. And if it's a number that I wasn't expecting, there could be this, whoa, okay, here we go. There's a reaction there. So again, going back to expectations. But the moment I can get that, okay, that's where I'm at, there's a power there. There's a peace there. It will know you're now in reality. You're having a reality check. And the moment I can say, okay, this is where I'm at, you've immediately done all the work. The transformation that's the hardest part. And now from acceptance, you can actually branch forward into, now what am I going to do? I can take inspired action. There's this momentum that you can get after really being with what's so. Okay. So when you're starting to see that maybe what you're having a hard time with, you're not there yet. So we're not able to accept it. What we then work on is, let me get my slide again. Come on. There we go. Is tolerance and intolerance. So there's a correlation between what we're not able to accept, but there's areas where we may tolerate and put up with, and it actually can be used as a stepping stone towards acceptance. So that's why I wanted to really introduce tolerance and intolerance. As I started looking at areas of life and where about, my range of acceptance, it was fascinating to really see how much there's a tolerance there or an intolerance. And so there's an access to power inside of labeling if we're tolerant of something or intolerant of something. You've heard the serenity prayer: accept the things I cannot change, and courage to change the things I can, and then the wisdom to know the difference. With acceptance, there's a reality that we can't change it. That's it. It's complete and it's done. But when we're in the world of tolerance and intolerance, we actually have power to make a change. So here's an example. I'll take the slide down. So we have a puppy. He's 6 months, 7 months old, and he is growing very large. I have accepted that. So that part's good. He's good. And there's something I've been tolerating. I've been putting up with, which is him opening, when we open the door to go for a walk, he like bolts down to our little trail. It's not far. It's like right there, but he bolts there. And I've been tolerating it because it's like, well, I don't like putting him on a leash. He's big, and it's been working for me. Like, I tolerate it because I kind of don't want to put the effort in to make a change. And because it's easy, right? So I've been tolerating him doing this, and it works because I don't have to make any action. Okay, so there's the key there is tolerance means you don't really want to do the action to make a change right now. Then the other day, I opened the door, we did the thing, and he bolts again, but then there was someone walking on the trail, which is very unusual, but there was someone there, and it happened to be a guy. Well, my dog doesn't really like some men. And so he starts barking and barking and barking at this guy, and basically barking after him and running after him. And in that moment, my tolerance went to intolerance. It was like, okay, that's it. Like, this is not workable. And that moment, that intolerance slid over into intolerant. I then had full action in me to go, I got to change this. This is done. So when we can slide the needle over into intolerance, we will make a change. The moment we get intolerant with what we're dealing with, we have it in us to go, all right, that's enough. So there's an access to power there. By another example is walking by the dishes. This is what I was doing. I walk by the dishes, they're piling up, but I'm tolerating them because I don't have time to actually do them. So I don't have the time to make the action to make a change. And so I just kept walking by them and walking by them. Well, then when the pile got so high and we ran out of forks, it slid to, I'm now intolerant of this. This is not workable. And it caused me to stop what I was doing and do the dishes. And it was just like that. So same with like weight loss. Like if you can tolerate because you're not there yet. You're not ready yet. I'm not quite ready to take the action yet or formulate in my head a plan. It's like, then it's okay to be in tolerance because you're formulating, you're building, you're analyzing, and then something may happen. How can you move the needle a bit to make it intolerable? Will have you then go, okay, I'm ready. Like, I'm done. I'm going to put this into plan because I don't want to wait another minute. So there's power inside of taking that needle and moving it into intolerance. And the area of tolerance and intolerance, all that whole world is we can make a change there. So in the saying, acceptance is accepting the things you cannot change, is because you can't change it. It is what it is. But when you're in the other world of courage to change the things I can, so we will tolerate because we know we can make a change. So it's there's power in both areas. So that's what I'm gathering with acceptance. And I'm interested to hear from anyone, like what's coming up for you when you hear areas of life that you're wanting to accept, and where you're tolerating, and where, if you can see some action in your area. And I know my mom's sick, so she may not have the capacity to talk. So appreciate that. Mom, go ahead. You're gonna.
Well, I really want to share.
Oh, great.
Yeah. You know, when you first were talking about the acceptance part, I was thinking back about the time when I lost my son at birth, and how they told me that he had passed, and how my brain went into, no, you guys are all wrong. This isn't the truth. And there's an element of, I'm just thinking the lack of acceptance. There's an element of fear in there, where no longer am I in charge. Other people have control, and it's a very uncomfortable place to be, where somebody else has called the shots, basically. Now, fast forward, of course, 39 years later, I have the wisdom to see the universal plan, and I would not be where I am had that not have happened. So there is an acceptance in that. But now I'm finding myself in the same spot with my son, Darcy. And I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. You know, I'm waiting for the every 3-4 month MRI results, you know, And when they say everything's clear, whew, we breathe again. And to me, the acceptance there is an element of feeling peaceful and trusting.
Mm-hmm.
And to achieve the total acceptance of what it is or what is, then it takes something to get over the fear, which is all, of course, ego based,
Mm-hmm.
and the trust, which I think is, for me, I know I'm taken care of. So so that's what I wanted to say about acceptance. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think when we start to see acceptance, it really is like we don't have a say anymore. Like we don't have control. We can't make a difference. We can't move the needle. Like that's it. It is what it is. And powerlessness, hopelessness, like that lack of control, it's all encompassing. And thank you for that. And knowing too that sometimes you have to let go and trust in the process, and that can be difficult. And sometimes people lean on spirituality in those times, like faith, like just absolute faith to know that there is something around the corner, and that where you're at now is not the end, and it's not forever, and it is a moment in time, and there is a momentum and a movement always. Like you're never stuck in the same feeling. And thank you. Emily, go ahead.
Okay. As some of you know, I've been dealing with this dry eye syndrome for several years. And I have done everything that I know how to do. And what I've noticed in the past, probably week and a half, 2 weeks, it feels worse. Now, I had complained about it quite a lot in the beginning. I didn't know what to do with this, closing your eyes, closing my eyes, light sensitivity, and people are thinking, they see me squinting and closing my eyes, and they say, "Oh, do you have a migraine? Is something wrong?" No migraine, but yeah, there's something wrong, and I can't seem to control this. So somebody said, "Oh, you need to have some Botox. If you put the Botox around your eyes, it's called medicinal Botox, and it won't allow you to close your eyes and squint." And I approached this with my doctor. I said, "Oh, Botox. Oh, I'm going to put some botulism around my eyes, and that's going to not let me squint." And he said, "Emily, no, there's a particular eye condition that will work for. It will not work for you." So as you were just talking, you just set up these things of tolerance, intolerance, and acceptance. I am not willing to accept this, that it's always going to be this way. And I was being tolerant that I was experiencing this, and I was scheduling my life. Okay, I can go to the grocery market in the morning. No, you can't drive in the afternoon. You can't drive in the evening. You have to have somebody drive you if you want to be safe. And I'm at a space right now of intolerance. Like, I'm friggin' furious that I'm holding my eyes open so I can see you, and that I can't control it. There's the biggie. I can't control it. So I just wanted to express that. this is where I am today, right now. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Yeah, and it is a process, and I really appreciate too that, and that's what I got this week, is that we can't sugarcoat this. Like there is there are so many mixed feelings that you have, and what I hear is, keep sharing what you're feeling, keep sharing like the frustration and because keeping that in, yeah. And I and I think that's what got me like, oh man, I like roses and happiness and unicorns and butterflies. Like this isn't the good stuff. This is the heavy stuff, but it's also the important stuff, and comes down to dialogue and sharing. And I really appreciate, you're not giving up. Like that's what I love, is like, no, the needle's over there. She's intolerant. That means she's still got, you're not done. You're not accepting, but there's still a power there, and a hunger and a determination. And so, your journey's not over, and you're going to keep on keeping on. And just appreciating the fight that you have. And it's just a matter of, you just, keep taking action. Appreciate. Susan, you got your hand up.
Hi. So mine's for other people's perspective on this, because I am intolerant of a circumstance with a family member. And what it is they've set a boundary for interaction. And I don't like that boundary. It's not enough for me, not enough interaction. And so I'm sad about that, or I'm impatient and intolerant and I try and push it. And I'm not sure how to change that, because I want to respect this person, but I don't see them often. So I try and make phone calls and messages, and they're just someone, it's not anything personal to me. It's just who they are. They don't use those methods of communication unless they absolutely have to. So how do you negotiate that?
And that's the process. Is, like, not that I have all the answers. And when we don't accept that that is what it is, like if email's not what they're doing, and you keep emailing them, they're not going to get your communication. And I can also see that this isn't a win-win. Like they're winning, but you're not. And therefore, the way to build a bridge with anyone when there's a breakdown is communication, is just sharing how it is for you, the impact. And I think that's a very valid and important thing to say. And it may not be with them right away, but even just sharing it here, right? Like getting your feelings out and being like, yeah, this doesn't work for me. Like, that's not fair. And if inside that there's an open to communicate with them, and just saying like, hey, like I respect where you're at, and I'd love to find another way, a way that can work, because I do want to have communication with you. Like moving the needle, right? Moving it towards what it is you're up to. But at the same time, if you have someone who they're asserting their boundary, and that is what it is, there's honor there too. And that's why I'm like, I'm not giving advice. I'm just saying, like, there's an access for accepting that is what it is. They're not wanting to communicate in those ways. And if you can be with that is their method, something new may come up, a new way. I'll be like, well, what if we meet for coffee? Or like, I'm just saying, like, that's why I'm not, you know what I mean? But like resisting it and pushing it away and saying, I don't like this, can sometimes put blinders to possibility. Being in upset and frustration and anger can be a way to just stop. It's like, then all of a sudden something's wrong here, and creation doesn't like that, right? So just working on being with the situation is what I'm hearing. And if anyone else has anything else to add, of course, please
Well, I'm not angry as much as I have remorse
Mm,
that we don't have that contact,
yeah.
because I don't know what's happening in their life then. And because it's a family member that's very important,
Mhm.
I would like that. I've kind of surrendered to it, but I'd like another solution.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to feel intolerant of. I do feel intolerant in that when I feel it, I feel sad,
Mhm.
and that's painful. So
Yeah.
there's got to be another way to look at this, and
Mhm.
it's to move back into tolerance.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and I think when we are leaning, like the range of acceptance that I shared, it doesn't mean that you can only go to intolerance to get there. These are all just places where our feelings can land. And in terms of like moving the needle towards acceptance, it could be that we lean into compassion. So just empathy and compassion, like let's get in their world. Let's see what it is for them. And really, like, if we can marinate in their life and not even consider us for a second, which is hard to do, but if we can just be like, well, why, like you said, they're that kind of person. Okay, we'll dive a little deeper, like what had them get that way, for example. It can all of a sudden have us see the perspective from their end and really realize it has nothing to do with us as much as we think it does, right? And so creating compassion and empathy can have us respect the space, but also, again, create an opening for a new action, something you may not even see right now as a way to bridge your relationship with them. So compassion, empathy, gratitude is another one. Being grateful for where you're at and the ways you do communicate, like can move the needle as well towards acceptance.
Right. Well, I do have compassion for her, and I have understanding, and I know her personality very well.
Mhm.
So what I've been trying to move the only thing I can see is to pray for peace for me.
Nice. Yes.
And that does help.
Yeah.
But I just, I'm going to continue to listen. Maybe there'll be something else that'll come up for me.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
So I'm just going to shut my mic off now.
Okay. Yeah. All good. Thank you. Amy.
And I think, it's so interesting to hear of tolerance, intolerance. Before this conversation, I would categorize those things as bad,
Mhm.
but now I'm seeing them as just entry points. As a massage therapist, I really took notice the other day as I was easing into an area of constraint and just easing in and like allowing the intolerance. There was like an intolerance there, and like allowing them to breathe and then just holding space. So intolerance, tolerance, and then it just melted like butter. I was like, I just love when that happens. Like muscles just melt like butter. But that's happens for us too, like at whatever stage we're at. I'm thinking about a relationship that's not exactly that I want in the space that I want it to be. And I'm tolerating certain things. And I'm thinking tolerance really is a powerful space to be. On its way to acceptance. And I think that's what you were going at. Like you're not going to be, you can occupy both states at the same time, I would imagine. Tolerance and
It
acceptance.
ranges. They like range levels and ranges. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can have acceptance of one part of
Yeah.
a situation, and then there's still work to do with another part. And
Ooh,
right.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's like moving the needle. Like, the other thing too is there what I looked at acceptance, there are people who have chosen, like they will radically accept everything. That is their mission on this earth, is to just have radical acceptance. And so deep diving into that and being like, what is that? Like they accept everyone and everything, inclusion and And I hear from inside that is it's a commitment. It's a declaration. Like it may come sometimes acceptance, the starting of it. It could be just declaring like, I'm going to work on accepting this fully. And I don't know how to do it yet. And I'm ready. And like just the declaration alone can frame the mind and really set the intention. Like Susan said, is like, I'm going to start praying for peace. Like you're declaring that in your future, there will be peace. I don't know how it's going to happen. And that's what's great. The how part, don't worry. That's not our job. It's really, what is our intention? Declare it, speak it, say it, remind yourself of it, that this is what's important to me. And then that space gets opened up for the openness and for the availability of acceptance to come. And then if it comes in the step of like speaking with a friend and sharing what's going on for you, like that's all moving the needle, you know? And yeah. The other thing too was when we are tolerant of something, sometimes it may or may not be a match for what our belief system and our values are. So that was the other piece is why can I tolerate one thing, but another person is like, nope, no way. I'm not doing that. Right. Like why is it different for everyone is because it comes down to what is our belief system? What are our values? How we grew up, what messages we got when we were younger. It can all kind of have us say where we are in the world of tolerance. And one of the things that intolerance, like when we move the needle and we're like, that's it, no more. What also gets created inside of that is a boundary. We now then set a boundary saying, okay, this doesn't work for me. And I'm here to take action, be in conversation, to create a space that matches my beliefs and my values. The moment that my dog was running out and barking at that man, it was not a match for how I want to represent myself. I don't want to be the person that's like, they would drive by my house on a bike and watch out for that dog. You know, she lets her dog out. Like I just, everything about that was like, that's not who I am. I want to have a dog that listens, is in control. And that is way more important than the moment that I let my dog off on a leash because I don't really like him pulling on me. Like, it's like, it was right then I created a boundary for a match for what is important to me. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I'm back to puppy training, getting him on a leash. Like I'm doing the work to create a dog that is a really good dog that will listen and recall, all because I was done and I created a boundary. So another great ways for intolerance is to be able to assert yourself and have your life be a match. Mm-hmm. Speaking of dogs, Alyssa, go ahead.
To figure that out again. Yeah, this week I had an appointment with a new counselor on Tuesday, and what that kind of opened up was my relationship with anxiety, because that's been something that has been pretty constant for me, but to varying levels and to varying effect. And the way I've always viewed it is it's something that I don't want to accept, because accepting it, I thought, I'm going to give this more power. I'm welcoming more of it in if I see it for what it is and acknowledge it, which sounds silly to me now as I say that out loud. But through that appointment and just kind of over the course of this week, just acknowledging when I'm feeling that way and just being like, this is how it is, and kind of accepting that moment is way more helpful for me in moving through those feelings rather than that resistance that I was approaching that with before. And so I've just been kind of playing in that space of maybe tolerating the anxiety that exists within me more, and not looking at this as a problem I need to fix, or I need to get what is causing this and remove that, or, you know, and
yeah, like finding ways through it. Yeah.
No,
And
that's powerful. And like, I love this conversation around acceptance because that feels fitting for that journey.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate that because there's that sense of not wanting it to be that way. Like the push away from it is like, and sometimes another way to move the needle towards acceptance is challenging your own belief system and just taking a moment and going, okay, so like you just did, like that's what reminded me is when you said, like, I thought that if I looked at it, it would give it more power and make it grow. And then you had a perspective shift, which is, well, not necessarily so. Having a new way to look at it had you then see that, wait a second, that maybe not necessarily. And changing our belief systems can actually give us access to a relationship towards what it is what it is, you know? And so learning that, no, if you look at anxiety, it's not going to grow. Same with panic attacks. Like that's another one where, you know, reading that, like people actually feel like they're going to die. And there's literature everywhere that's like, remember, you are not going to die. Like that is a very important highlight for when someone's in that experience, because it feels so real. And then just the reminder, like, okay, it's not true. This is not going to happen. Like, and it's a way to get yourself down from it, is to challenge the thoughts, challenge the feelings. And the feelings are not necessarily the truth. Your thoughts are not necessarily the truth. And so that's why having community is great, because you can reach out and dialogue, sharing with people, saying like, this is how I'm feeling. And then, you know, being able to listen to it out loud can be a way to say, no, that doesn't fit actually. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Anything else for anyone share? Joshua's away this week, so this is a solo mission, and it's going well, I think. Awesome. And so the other piece too is, like we do on every call, is just having gratitude for where we're at. And so that's another piece that I wanted to share today, is just, you know, look at areas of your life and what are you grateful for? I'd love to hear from you in and if it's in the area that you're working on accepting, what can you be grateful for in that area? And so I'd love to hear from you about that. For me, I'm really appreciating, like, so my puppy, as painful as he is sometimes, I am really grateful that he actually is a pleaser. Like he really wants to please us. He's just really food motivated. Like he learned to get into our pantry. So we had to change our doorknobs, door handles to doorknobs, because he could get into them. And it's just, you know, really embracing him as he's a puppy. Like I accept that he's a puppy and this isn't forever. And I appreciate and grateful for him being so wanting to learn. And I did not have that with my other dogs in the past. They were very stubborn dogs. So I'm appreciating that he will want to learn. He's just, I haven't taught him. And so that's given me more leaning into taking action to make this situation better. So it's just a perspective shift too. So yeah. Susan.
Yes, this has been really interesting because I am so grateful for the family and friends that I have. And communication, I guess, has become a box for me. I have a certain expectation of the level. And I have been looking at that already. The way I feel inside is if you don't have enough, the relationship won't be as deep as what I want it to be. So that's all about me. It's not really about the other person. And I know the person that I've been thinking of, her intention is never to hurt me or lead me out of her life, but distance and communication over phone or whatever else, because they're less, I feel like I don't know her as well as what I'd like to. But that's a pattern for me. That's what I see. I often feel I want to deepen relationships with people. So I've looked at attachment theory.
Mhm.
And for me, I think that's an anxious attachment.
Mhm.
And because these people don't need what I need, right?
Mhm.
So it's something to work on. And I expect that I will find the way to do that. And I'm grateful for this interchange too, because it's given me a different perspective.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I love like what you said, like going inward or going to books and reading, like it's a way to work on the view, the perspective that you have, right? Like, so if you can learn that maybe not necessarily so, right? There's knowledge there. It can then release what it is that you're wanting, right? And it gives you again access to that's great. Thank you. Mom or Mina, sorry.
Well, I am Mom and Mina.
Yep.
You know, my husband and I went away for 3 weeks, and I had such an opportunity to just be in the world of just him and I. And that hasn't been that way for 4 years because everything's revolved basically around my son. And it was really hard to leave him and go away for 3 weeks. And I came back and he was still alive, which was great. And I really got that there was a shift in my perspective of how my life was, and it doesn't have to be that way. And it's kind of just given me a boost up as realizing that you know, I can be number one first and fuel myself so that I could be better at supporting other people. So I'm really grateful for that perspective. And I would not have gotten that had I not been away. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that because there was that anxiety, or maybe that's not the right word, but when you were getting ready to leave, there was just, that's what you were up against, that going, oh my gosh, like I'm going to be leaving him, and what if, and like, you know, just acknowledging that you did it anyway. Like you didn't let that stop you. And then now you're appreciating the gifts of you taking that on. Awesome. I will share homework if you're interested in taking it on. So explore where you're tolerating and not accepting. It's just a place, it's an access to look. And then get in dialogue around where you're not accepting as a place to, you know, get the emotions that you're feeling, get it out. Yeah, and perspective. Another person can see something that maybe you can't see, and allowing that gift that someone can give you, and you can try it on. If it doesn't fit, doesn't mean you have to take it, right? But being in that space with someone. And then what actions can you take around what you're not tolerating? So moving the needle a bit and creating boundaries and just, you know, taking action. And then accept where you're at, embrace the journey. I think just being in that, this is what it is right now. And just accepting that. Like, it doesn't mean you have to accept the whole thing, but just even just the little bit of it. All is in service of the bigger picture. So our intention of accepting something is just as powerful. The declaration, the sharing, that's all action. That's all being in the game and being mindful and basically saying, okay, this is important to me, and this is what I'm up to. I want to fully accept this. Because once you accept something, what's on the other side is it's a peace, and it's an inner peace, and it's not an outer anything. It's all inside you, and it's for you. So yeah, so that's your homework. And the other thing I also wanted to offer too, I'm just trying it on this week, is to connect back on Thursday evening for maybe even a half hour and just, take this out in your life and see what comes up for you in terms of what are you seeing in terms of accepting and tolerating, and maybe you do take action this week. And I'd love to have it land. So we'll do Thursday, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. I'll put it out on the Facebook and let everybody know, but that is an invitation. Emily, you have your hand up.
Yeah, honey. Is that the only time that would be available? The Landmark Happiness Seminar.
Is it? Okay.
Thursday. It'll be every Thursday.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. How about Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay. Wednesday.
Work
Is
for
that too soon?
I see Maina shaking her head no.
No.
I have a commitment on Wednesday nights as well, so that would be difficult. How about like a Saturday morning or something? Would that be something?
Yeah, do you want to do that?
People could just pop in for
Yeah,
15
it's like
minutes.
really just half hour, informal. Just really want to create that connection still, right? With but yeah, so we could do Saturday 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So 9 a.m.
to 12. That's 1 o'clock.
10. Amy, go ahead.
I just want to say I was grateful for my new job today. I start my spa job at 3 p.m. and it's just the loveliest space. And now massage. It's like a whole other world, like just landed in the middle of North Scottsdale. And I get to go, even though I totally resist going to a job period, having that structure. I want to make my own schedule up, but I actually do. I say that I'm okay with being there these 2 days, and it's going to be lovely. It's like being on. It's like being in the deck of a boat and in Sedona, and just all these lovely spaces with ocean sound and peace and serenity and quiet. So I'm grateful for that and the acceptance of the gradual acceptance of that of that structure.
Thank you. Awesome. Anything else? So Emily, go ahead.
Oh, do we have, did everybody are we going to do, is everyone going to do their gratitude and their word?
I would love that. Yes. Yeah. So let's go, Amy. What is your word of the week? Because I heard your gratitude.
Magic and miracles, 2 words.
Nice. Love it. And Emily.
Yes. I am grateful that I went to the UU this morning. I have been making our pastor wrong, and that has not been serving me nor anyone else, particularly me, because I was not listening to him newly at all. And today I went with a new thing, got off of it, making him wrong, and came away having learned something and having received a really lovely experience. So my words are getting off it more.
Yeah.
All getting off of it, Emily.
Thank you. Susan.
Hi, sorry, it took me a minute. So my words that are so important to moving forward are compassion, love, and understanding.
Thank you. Alyssa.
My gratitude is around resources. So having lots of different things that are able to support me through my anxiety and other things, and just taking advantage of those resources that I have, because I forget that sometimes. So yeah, I'm thankful for the different avenues I have for that.
And do you have a word of the week?
Ooh. Courage.
Love.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And Mom, Mina.
Yeah, I already said what I was grateful for, but my word of the week is
Word.
perspective.
Oh, nice. Excellent. And Danielle, are you able to share what you're grateful for in your word of the week? And that's okay. And I'm grateful for just all the spaces that I go through, and just the determination and persistence, and just, yeah. And it's like I'm playing the game and I'm not giving up, and just keep going and keep shaking things up, changing things, and just being open to seeing where all of this is going. And yeah, my word of the week is just do it. So thank you, everybody. And I hope to see you next week. So we're going to do Saturday, 10 a.m. Mountain,
Okay.
10 a.m. Pacific, and for check-in. And then next week's conversation is about momentum. How do you get momentum, keep keep staying in the game and playing hard? So hope to see you next Sunday as well.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.
Kelsey,
Oh, and Danielle couldn't unmute.
she couldn't
Grateful for
unmute.
people this week. Thanks, Danielle. Glad we could catch you the last second.